He built a fortress of silence. And for years, we could only guess what was happening inside. Was he lost? Was he finished? Or was he building something? We all have that artist we root for. The one with a voice so pure, you feel it in your bones. The one with a talent so obvious, you just wish they'd get out of their own way. For a generation, that artist was Zayn Malik. But what if the silence wasn't an escape? What if it was a strategy? What if the man who walked away from the biggest band in the world didn't disappear, but recalibrated? Because this isn't the comeback you think it is. After years of false starts and whispers, Zayn is back. And this time, it's different. This time, it feels permanent. In the next few minutes, we're going to dismantle the fortress. We'll uncover why this new era feels so focused, what his music is really telling us, and the precise strategy that could define the rest of his career. By the end of this, you won't have questions. You'll have the blueprint. Stay with me. Chapter 1, The Reset. To understand where Zayn is going, you first have to understand what he ran from. Not just a band. He ran from the noise. The relentless, deafening noise of expectation. When an artist hits the emergency brake, they usually return in one of three ways. The Phoenix, they come back louder, with a blockbuster hit designed to reclaim the charts. The Ghost, they return safer, with a nostalgic sound that panders to their old fans. Or, the Architect, they burn it all down and build something new from the foundations up. Something smaller, stronger, and truer. Zayn chose to be the architect. And the first thing he did was fire the demolition crew. No more drama. No more gossip cycles fueling the rollout. Notice how this album arrived. It wasn't preceded by headlines about his personal life. It was preceded by the sound of his voice. That isn't an accident, it's a declaration. The art is now the armor. Second, he shrunk his world. You can hear it in the music. There are fewer hands on the wheel. It sounds less like an album made by a committee and more like a confession recorded in a single room. As Zayn himself said in a recent interview, he finally feels he has something to say from a real place. That real place isn't a boardroom. It's a quiet space where his voice is the loudest thing you hear. And finally, he changed his relationship with time. The pop machine demands speed. A new single every quarter, a new trend every month. Zayn stepped off the assembly line. He's giving his songs room to breathe. He's letting them find their audience organically, not forcing them into a viral moment. This wasn't a vacation. It was an exorcism. He had to kill the pop star to save the artist. He built the perfect, quiet room. But what was he going to fill it with? The answer is in the notes themselves. Chapter 2, The Music. Let's talk about the sound. Because this is the core of the entire reset. The new music lives in that twilight space between R&B, folk, and alternative pop. It's the kind of music that feels like a late-night drive. Warm bass, patient drums, and melodies that drift like smoke. But the real story here is his voice. For years, Zayn's voice was treated like a cannon. Powerful, explosive, aimed directly at the cheap seats. He was known for those stratospheric high notes, the vocal fireworks. But listen now. The cannon has been replaced with a surgeon's scalpel. He's using his falsetto with surgical precision, a highlight, not the headline. His harmonies are now threads woven inside the hook, not blankets thrown on top of it. He's choosing texture over volume, emotion over athletics. It's the difference between shouting a secret and whispering a truth. And that truth is coming through in the songwriting. Three themes keep appearing: self-ownership, privacy, and the dangerous space between love and self-protection. This isn't the poetry of a boy anymore. It's the prose of a man who has lived. A man who understands that vulnerability is a strength, but boundaries are a necessity. He's no longer writing to prove he can sing. He's writing because he has something to say. And the production is designed to let him say it. Listen to the space in these new tracks. The producers have left huge, open pockets where his voice can live. The instruments are organic, real guitars, soft keys. It's a timeless sound that won't feel dated in 6 months. It's a courageous choice in an industry obsessed with synthetic, trend-chasing sounds. Why does this sound work now? Because Zayn's voice is finally the main character of his own story. The production gets out of the way, the writing speaks from experience, and the result is music that feels honest. This sound isn't just a choice, it's a statement. But a statement is useless if no one hears it. Which brings us to the quiet genius of the strategy. Chapter 3: The Strategy. A comeback is never just one song. It's a campaign, a sequence of moves. And Zayn's sequence is a masterclass in control. First, the visual identity. It's a film, not a music video. Notice the color palette: dark, cinematic, muted. The photography is intimate, full of texture and grain. It doesn't feel like a pop star's photo shoot. It feels like a portrait of a human being. This aesthetic screams grown artist, not nostalgia act. Second, the content is music first. No stunts. No drama bait. Just lyric snippets, stripped-down performances, and behind-the-scenes moments from the studio. He's retraining his audience. He's telling them, if you show up here, you will get the art. Nothing more. That builds a foundation of trust, not just hype. But this is where it gets really smart. The rollout is windowed. Each release gets its own moment, its own runway. It's not a content dump, it's a season of television. One song introduces the sound. The next deepens the narrative. The next converts the casual listener. It's a slow burn, not an explosion, designed to create a catalog people live with, not just a headline they forget. And then there's the press. The carefully chosen interviews, like his appearance on Call Her Daddy, feel like conversations, not interrogations. For an artist who has been defined by other people's words for over a decade, he is finally, unequivocally, controlling his own narrative. He's not just releasing music. He's building a world. A sustainable ecosystem that doesn't rely on the toxic highs of chart battles or viral fame. It relies on a steady, authentic connection. This entire strategy is designed for one thing: longevity. It's built to last. But it raises the biggest question of all. Where does it lead? What happens next? Chapter 4: What's Next? Predictions. Alright, let's connect the dots. Based on the music, the strategy, and the man himself, here are my predictions for the future of Zayn. First, collaborations. Expect taste, not trends. No clout-chasing features. I'm predicting intimate, vocal-forward duets with artists from the R&B and alternative worlds. Think someone like her, Daniel Caesar, or even a surprising indie voice like Bon Iver. The goal won't be to get a hit, it will be to create a moment. Second, and this is the big one, live shows. We all know his history with live performance anxiety. So, forget the massive arena tour. That's the old world. That's the machine he broke himself trying to operate. Instead, expect a series of high-fidelity, intimate experiences. Think filmed live sessions, an NPR Tiny Desk, a KXP performance. Think limited runs in historic theaters with incredible sound, where the focus is on his voice, not the spectacle. These aren't just concerts. They are curated events that respect his boundaries and showcase his greatest strength. It's the solution to his biggest problem. Third, the sound will continue to evolve. I predict more organic, live instrumentation. Maybe even a guitar-forward ballad that strips everything away. He's moving toward a sound that is raw, real, and can be performed with just one instrument and his voice. And finally, the brand. Any partnerships will be low noise and high taste. A campaign with a luxury fashion house that shares his aesthetic. A signature guitar. Nothing that steals the oxygen from the music. These are the moves of an artist playing chess, not checkers. An artist building a legacy, not just a career. And that brings us to the real heart of this comeback. Chapter 5: Why this comeback lands. So why does this all feel so, right? It's because for the first time, the music and the man are aligned. He's not playing a character. He's not chasing a sound that isn't his. He finally sounds like the man, not the myth. For years, fans didn't just want noise, they wanted authenticity. Right now, he has it in spades. The other reason it lands is us. His original audience grew up. We're not kids anymore. We're not asking for teenage anthems. We're asking for songs that reflect our own lives, the complexities, the quiet moments, the search for peace. He's meeting us where we are. And the final, most powerful reason, restraint. In an industry addicted to speed and desperate for attention, Zayn chose patience. He didn't rush back to prove anything. He waited until he had something to say. In 2025, that kind of restraint doesn't read as weakness. It reads as unshakable confidence. This isn't a comeback. A comeback implies you're returning to something you lost. This is an arrival. He has finally arrived at the artist he was always meant to be. Chapter 6, the final takeaway. So, here's the takeaway. Zayn's return works because it's intentional. Fewer voices, cleaner visuals, and songs that feel like a life lived, then distilled. The music finally has the room it always needed. But now I want to hear from you. The next phase is critical, and I'm watching it closely. If you want a part 2 of this deep dive, tell me in the comments which path you want to explore. Option 1, a dream feature list, where I break down the 5 artists who would fit this new era perfectly. Or Option 2, a full lyrical breakdown of the album's deepest cuts, line by line. Let me know. I will read everything. And if you appreciate deep dives that respect your time and respect the artist, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community here that goes beyond the headlines. I'll see you in the next one.